I'm Kelly Wilson, and I'm excited to share how I plan to move forward recommendations that emerged from my doctoral work on preparing teachers to advance equity through deeper learning and anti-racist practices. I first wanted to share more about my why as an educator and my why for this project. As a first-generation college student, my parents' experiences with education have had a profound impact on my thinking. My mom grew up in poverty in rural Illinois. She lived in a one-bedroom home with her parents and her three brothers, and slept on a cot in the kitchen during her childhood. She excelled in school and had a genuine love of learning, but did not think she could afford college, so she began working in a factory at age 17 after high school. My dad, on the other hand, struggled with school from an early age and dropped out of high school when he was 14. While he hid in the back of the classroom at school, failing most of his classes, at home he took apart my grandfather's car engine just to figure out how it worked and wired his room to automate the door opening and curtains closing. The lack of understanding of how to serve neurodiverse students in the 1940s resulted in teachers labeling my father as lazy and dumb, rather than teaching him to leverage the many strengths that come with his dyslexic mind, such as spatial reasoning and creative problem solving. My father eventually became an entrepreneur and founded an aerospace precision tooling company, and my mom ran the office and oversaw the finances. I became an educator because I believe the unique and complex identities of all students should and can be leveraged as strengths, and that your racial identity, learning profile, or family's income should not mispredict your future opportunities and outcomes in life. I chose to focus on preparing teachers to advance equity through deeper learning and anti-racist practices for my dissertation because I believe that we should engage young people in work that matters for a more just and loving world. Despite decades of efforts to narrow inequitable educational outcomes for K-12 students, significant gaps persist. Nearly 32% of white 25-year-olds have a bachelor's degree, as compared to 23% of Black and 11% of Latinx adults. Similarly, students from high-income backgrounds are more than twice as likely to complete college within 6 years than their low-income peers. Underserved students often have less access to educational environments that develop college and career readiness, coupled with greater financial pressure to begin working full-time following graduation. While some argue that college is not the only path in life, research shows that adults with a college degree can earn nearly 75% more annually than those with a high school diploma. Conservative estimates place this wage gap at over $1.3 million over a lifetime, in addition to substantially better health and longevity experienced by college graduates, which disproportionately impacts low-income and communities of color. While attaining a college degree is critical, students must also learn how to navigate the complexity of a rapidly changing and increasingly diverse world, impacted by globalization, technology, automation, climate change, systemic racism and oppression, and myriad other challenges. Beyond memorizing and recalling facts, students in the 21st century must learn deeper learning competencies, such as mastering core academic content, thinking critically and creatively to solve problems, working collaboratively, communicating effectively, learning how to learn, and developing academic mindsets and dispositions. Every student deserves access to an education that fosters deeper learning through meaningful, authentic work, but unfortunately, low-income and students of color have less access to deeper learning and are more likely to attend schools that place greater emphasis on standardized testing, low cognitive demand tasks, and remedial, often scripted, courses of study. While those practices may be employed in the name of equity, it can be argued that the differential treatment of already marginalized students in these and other harmful ways is inherently racist. By contrast, anti-racist educators critically examine and dismantle practices and policies that perpetuate racial inequities between racial groups, and reimagine ones which will produce and sustain racial equity. They engage students in work that matters, using problem-posing learning experiences to heighten critical consciousness, activate students to affect change in their world through social critique and political action, and further liberation. Pre-service program educators must better understand how to prepare teachers to advance equity through both deeper learning and anti-racist practices to close gaps in educational and life outcomes for underserved students and further economic and racial justice. The purpose of my doctoral research was to better understand the extent to which alumni from the teacher residency program feel prepared to advance equity through deeper learning and anti-racist practices. The GSD Teacher Residency Program, TRIP, was launched in 2018 to prepare novice teachers to design equitable learning environments using constructivist deeper learning pedagogies. The program is grounded in Freire's argument that the processes of teaching and schooling are never neutral, and each decision educators make has the potential to either perpetuate or disrupt oppression and marginalization. This equity lens is at the forefront of how candidates learn to design and facilitate anti-racist, culturally responsive classrooms driven by interdisciplinary project-based learning and critical pedagogy. In the first year, TRIP candidates are embedded in one of 16 Dewey Tech K-12 schools, while student teaching and earning their preliminary teaching credential. While in the second year of the program, they earn their MED in teaching and learning and are employed as a teacher of record in a K-12 school. For my dissertation, I explored the following 3 research questions. In what ways does the GSD Teacher Residency Program intend to prepare teachers to advance equity through deeper learning and anti-racist practices? What are the perceptions of graduates regarding the extent to which the program prepared them? And what are the perceptions of graduates regarding opportunities for program improvement? Alumni from the first 2 cohorts of the program shared overwhelmingly positive feedback about their experience in the program. They described the program as life-changing, transformative, and powerful. However, 3 recommendations emerged upon careful analysis of the data. To improve the program, the teacher residency program should consider developing an anti-racist deeper learning framework to guide student learning throughout the program, embedding instruction in the use of restorative practices to advance equity, and embed opportunities for collaboration, coaching, and mentorship into the second year of the program and beyond. To lead change to implement these changes, I plan to use Kotter's 8-step organizational change model. To create the climate needed for change, a sense of urgency must be developed with faculty. I plan to create this by sharing data collected through my dissertation with faculty, including results from the faculty survey, alumni survey, 14 alumni interviews, and review of program documents and materials. In collaboration with the program director, we will form a powerful coalition of faculty and students interested in leading change to improve the program. This vision will be informed by recommendations that emerged from my research, but must evolve into a shared vision co-designed by faculty, students, and other key stakeholders. For example, while an anti-racist deeper learning framework is needed to strengthen the program, this framework will need to be co-designed to have a meaningful impact on student learning. The shared vision for implementing changes will be communicated to faculty as we design courses and make changes to the program next year. The program director will be empowered to take action and create quick wins by highlighting and celebrating work from the program that moves forward the shared vision for change. This might include course syllabi, student work, or new aspects of program design that address the recommendations. For example, a project might be developed that asks students to practice and reflect on the use of restorative practices to advance equity at their school site. Finally, after engaging and enabling the organization to implement change, changes must be sustained and evaluated over time. We will build on bright spots generated from quick wins to scale greater change across the program and make it stick by strengthening our culture of assessment and evaluation in the program. For example, the faculty and alumni surveys used in my doctoral research might be administered on an annual basis to evaluate change over time, in addition to data collected from student work and alumni focus groups and interviews. Thank you for taking time to learn more about my research and plans for leading change in my organization. I look forward to hearing your feedback and learning from the wisdom and experience of our amazing cohort.